Two mic check 1 2 1 2. It's Mike D here in the spot, man. I wanted to check in with you guys once again, but this time I wanted to give props to RZA, man. RZA celebrated a birthday this weekend, and I just wanted to give RZA his flowers, man. I could easily get on here and say, my top five RZA beats or this, that, and the third, but I think that's a little bit deeper than that because RZA and Wu-Tang changed my life and my perspective on hip hop as a youth, and I'm lucky and very fortunate to have grown up in an era where Wu-Tang were some of my first hip hop memories. They gave me some of my best hip hop memories, and I got those straight out the gate thanks to Wu-Tang. Now, off top, for the people who don't know, RZA is the person who really brought the Wu-Tang together as a collective and gave them that collective vision. In my personal opinion, I think RZA is the greatest group leader in hip hop history. Not only did he produce the acts and produce the group, he produced their solo visions. He actually gave them their solo visions in many of his production soundscapes, whether that was, collaborative with the artist or not, it still got accomplished. And when it came down to the group being the group and them being able to have different record label situations as solo artists, RZA was very pivotal in making that happen as well. RZA can't give him enough credit, man, because like I said, Cream, in my personal opinion, is one of the greatest hip hop beats of all time. Now, when I heard Cream for the first time, I was like, yo, who made this beat? And this is me at like 11 years old. Like, this sounds like nothing that I've ever heard before. And it wasn't just because of the sampling, it was like this eeriness that Wu-Tang had going on from a production lens and a production soundscape that it just pulled you in. It drew you in a little bit more to just the lyricists themselves because the lyrics were gritty, grimy, and I can never forget seeing that video for the first time. And one of the things that I've heard Russell Simmons say actually was he's talking about the difference between Triumph and Cream. And they were talking about expensive videos and videos that were less expensive. And he was just talking about how grandiose Triumph is, but as minimal as Cream is, it's more powerful. And that's no knock to Triumph. Triumph's incredibly powerful in its sense as well. But I understand what that means when we talk about that grit, that rawness. You get that in the Cream visuals, and you also get that in Method Man's Bring the Pain. There's no way you can duplicate that rawness. I think Diane Martell, not produced, but directed Bring the Pain. I believe she directed Cream too. Somebody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong. But those visuals match the production so well. And I think RZA did such a great job of setting the blueprint and setting the tone sonically for what we were going to hear from Wu-Tang and each of its individual members. Like, Oh Dirty had a sound, Jizza had a sound, Raekwon had a sound, Method Man had a sound, and Ghost had a sound. And this is early. And they all made incredible first efforts. Well, it was technically just a second effort, but you guys know what I mean. The first chamber of solo albums after 36 Chambers. And we always talk about the work that RZA did in 1995. To think that there was a producer that went out there and made Old Dirty's first solo album that had Brooklyn Zoo. I know he didn't do Brooklyn Zoo, but he did pretty much the rest of the album. Shimmy Shimmy Y'all. And then you have Only Built for Cuban Links, in my personal opinion, which is a top 5 hip hop album all time. You have that with Ice Cream on it. You got Incarcerated Scarfaces on it. You got Glaciers of Ice on it. Incredible classic. Man, listen, Glaciers of Ice. I, you know what, man? Glaciers of Ice might be my favorite beat on Only Built for Cuban Links. And I only pause because Ice Cream's on there. You know what I'm saying? You got Wu Gambino's on there. Like, I think personally, when we say production, and we talk about all-time production and full-out productions, yeah, there might be some albums that were produced better than Only Built for Cuban Links. But when we talking about just beat for beat and like a beat tape and like a producer giving you a beat tape, that album is tough to beat for beat. And RZA did his thing on there as a producer. And again, he also produced Liquid Swords in that same calendar year. And this is a year after Tikal comes out, which is a year after, Into the 36 Chambers comes out. Into the 36 Chambers is at the end of November. I'm sorry, at the end of 93. It's in November of 93. So you're spilling into all of that. They're touring. You got the flood that goes on as well. I have to mention the flood because recovering from that is insanely incredible. I mean, anybody who's ever made any beats or recorded anything, the worst thing that can happen is for you to have incredible takes, especially back in that day. We didn't have the cloud back in that day. For you to have incredible work and you lose that work and you have no way of getting that back, you have no way of duplicating those things. And the fact that RZA was able to recover from that and make a top 5 hip hop album all time and Only Built for Cuban Links, and in my personal opinion, a top 30 hip hop album all time with Liquid Swords, it's incredible. It's incredible, man. Like, we have to have a special place when it comes to RZA and what he did for Wu-Tang as a producer, as a member, and, as a lyricist himself. When we talk about all-time great producers in hip-hop, and just like I said, when it comes to great group leaders, to me, he's in a league of his own. I would say him and Q-Tip are definitely in a league of their own. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting anybody off the top of my head, but I know y'all let me know in the comments if I am. But yes, man, RZA needs his flowers. Bobby Digital needs his flowers because they set a tone that I don't feel like was able to be duplicated by anybody even after, man. Wu-Tang is an international brand. The lyricism that they set forth is an international brand. And pound for pound, if we're talking about just straight up member for member and bar for bar, it's not even fair. No one's better than this group. Like, this group is in a league of their own. We've never seen this many skilled MCs in one group at one time, before it nor after. They're a supergroup. They're a supergroup that started together. They were a supergroup before we even knew, or before they even proved to anybody that they were a supergroup. They were able to collectively do what they did and then disperse and do those things individually as well. It's very remarkable. And I don't think that we appreciate Wu-Tang enough. I don't think Wu-Tang as a collective get their flowers enough. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, especially people who have heard their name and aren't as familiar with their music. They probably feel like Wu-Tang gets enough props. Wu-Tang does not get enough props. Wu-Tang by far, if we're talking about bar for bar and member for member, are the greatest hip hop collective ever. It's not even fair. Now, I think it starts to get, fair when you start talking about just group work and not counting any solo work. But if you talk about the individual talents and what those talents did as individual solo acts and as a group, it's not even fair. We never got anything like that before or after. And I got to thank RZA to have vision enough to be able to put together the X-Men, this Avenger type of hip hop squad that we've never seen before or even after. I mean, it couldn't have been easy. If it was easy, more people would have done it. But yes, man, shout out to RZA and his production. His beats definitely changed the way I listen to hip hop music, man. And again, I'm a kid out of Atlanta, Georgia at the time. Ain't nobody listening to Wu-Tang, much less most of the East Coast stuff that was coming out that wasn't super commercial. People down here, at least in my age bracket, weren't really listening to it like that and weren't really rocking with it like that. But when I heard Wu-Tang, man, it was over for me. Like, Wu-Tang changed the way I viewed hip hop. And I was like, nah, I need to hear more of that. Now, I don't know if in this current age of on demand music, if that changes the mystique that certain musicians and certain beats or songs in general have. But I know back then, man, I would sit in front of my television waiting for shadowboxing to come on, waiting for ice cream to come on. You know what I'm saying? Waiting for Daytona 500 to come on, and before the albums were available to go get, or I would tape it off the radio. I don't know if it would have the same effect now if I could just go on YouTube and just listen to it whenever I want it. I probably would listen to it over and over. But the mystique that you got from a group like that when you're sitting at home waiting on Rap City to play shadow boxing, shadow boxing and fourth chamber. Like you can't even describe it. And for a generation that wasn't there, man, it was a wonderful time, man. I wish that I could even put into words how the rarity of the scarcity of hearing certain things, how the allure built on to that act and built on to that artist. I mean, I felt the same way when I heard Holocaust on Silkworm for the first time. Another RZA thing, the Bobby Digital joint, where Holocaust was like, I'm gonna try to wrap this real quick because I'm gonna do this real quick. He was like, "You're falling down the endless tunnel of doom reality. Graphically, my killer bee family stings a galaxy, insanity, titanium, stomach devouring Guinness. My flesh is solid stone despite my outer appearance." Come on, man. Kill disease, steal virus and planets and racial creatures, making seeds sprout tumors so bad, lost facial features, wasted people sput out in the rain. Fountains of pain, 80 shots to the mouth and the brain, shouting my name, Holocaust. Black man whose veins slither with thorns, perhaps smack you so hard or your seeds to be born deformed. Swarm dorms, sting birds, fling birds like mean curves, strike three, might splee. I infect them with green germs, ringworm. Anyway, I'm sitting in front of my television like, I can't wait for this video to come on. Can't wait for this video to come on. And then it comes on. And it's like, yes, press record, whatever. And these are feelings that I don't think that the hip hop listener gets anymore. But again, parts of my childhood that I will never forget. And I gotta thank you, RZA, for that. And today, I want to give you your flowers. I know Wu-Tang has a whole lot coming up. Raekwon got an album coming up. I'm gonna talk about that in a few episodes as well. But I just thought it would be appropriate to give the Abbott his flowers, man. Y'all hit like and subscribe. Appreciate y'all letting me rant in the not chat, in the comments. Put some of your favorite RZA production, because I could go on and on and on and on. All right, hit like and subscribe, man. Talk to you guys soon.